Hi everyone. In this video, I'll be helping you revise arrays and functions, and in the process, do some problem solving and explain two kinds of algorithms that I think are very common: violation and validation algorithms. In the project that we created earlier, we're going to create a new class and we'll call it array service. We'll include public static void main so that we can run this class and finish. I'll create an array ARR containing 4 values 1, 7, 2 and 9. I'll store whether this array is in ascending order or not in a variable named status. Now again, I'm going to reiterate that processing sees that there is a method is ascending that requires an integer array to be passed and returns a Boolean value. So it's going to give you this error and a quick fix that you can create this method, which you do. Change the visibility to public and complete this method. The first thing you should always do in a method that has an array passed to it, by the way, I'm changing the name of the array from ARR to A to avoid confusion. The first thing you should check is to check if the array is null, and if it is, return an appropriate value. In this case, we can return false if the array is null. If the length of the array is less than 2, which is size 0 or 1, the array is in ascending order and we can return true. Otherwise, our logic is that we check each item against the previous item. And at any stage, if we find a smaller item after a bigger item, we return false immediately, because that immediately violates the ascending order. So we go from the second index to the last index. We check an item. If it's smaller than the previous item, we immediately return false, because that's a violation to the ascending order. At the end of the loop, if there are no violations, if you reach the end of the loop, it obviously means there were no violations. Otherwise, the control would have returned. It's only then you can return true. Okay, this value that we stored in the Boolean variable, we're going to display. And we are expecting false. There you go. We change this 2 to 1 and the result changes to true, because there is no item which is smaller than the previous item. Let's change the last item to 1 again and the result should change to false again. If the array is not instantiated properly and is null, the result is still false and the program executes successfully. If the array is empty, there is no item in the array, it returns true because the violation doesn't occur. If there is only one item, then also it's true. So this is an example of a violation algorithm. Next we see a function that checks if an array contains an even number, any even number, even one number. So we've again created the method contains even. Change the name of the array to A again to avoid confusion. If the array is null, return false, because an empty array cannot contain an even number. This time around, we'll check each and every item of this array whether it's even or not, which we do by checking the remainder by 2. If it's 0, it is even, and this is a validation to the method's rule, so we immediately can return true. If the loop finishes, which means there were no validations that were found, it's then we can return false. Let's display this value as well. And you'll see that the array 1729 does contain an even number. If I change it to 1739, the second output will also be false because it does not contain an even number. Alright, I'm going to stop over here. So this was a video to demonstrate the use of arrays and apply some problem solving. Thank you.